am concerned, and because since the beginning of this, we've seen mutations occur all over the world, many thousands of them, but this one has more mutations than any variant we've seen before. Um, and, and also, it has 17 of them, some of them in the kind of business end virus that binds onto human cells, um, and really does seem to account for the uncontrollability that we've seen in London and the southeast in recent months.
One of the next questions then is what happens with the impact of a vaccine, because we've all been closely monitoring the Pfizer-BioNTech rollout with great hope that it will restore some form of normality. But so far, all we've heard over the weekend from the chief scientific advisor to Warp Speed in the United States that the mutation's very unlikely to be resistant to current vaccines, but they can't exclude it. So what do you make of the developments and whether the vaccine rollout will be impacted?
So I feel fairly confident that the vaccines will still work extremely well. By that I mean not just the Pfizer vaccine, but all of the front runners we're talking about. Of the mutations that have been mapped, only one of them sits right in one of the immune targets targeted by the vaccine. But the vaccine actually induces a range of neutralizing antibodies that target many different parts of spike. So while we await the actual experiments that many people are doing, I feel relatively secure that the vaccines will still work very, very well.
Professor, there's been a lot of talk about how not only is this more infectious, but potentially you need to be exposed to less of it to get as sick as you would have done with previous strains. Can you help us understand, how that works in scientific terms? There's a lot of talk about the load not necessarily having to be higher to receive the same dose of the infection. Can you just unwrap that for us and explain why that makes this particular strain more virulent?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I can unwrap it enormously better than you just explained, but of these 17 changes in the sequence, there seem to be some of them that account for the fact that when you do this diagnostic PCR and amplify the nasopharyngeal virus, the amount of copies you get the virus are many, many times more than have been picked up for the old wild type, the normal virus. So that suggests that somehow it's able to multiply much better in your nasopharynx than the old version, which also, of course, also makes it more spreadable. The only part that we feel less sure about, maybe is slightly reassuring, is I don't think I've seen any evidence yet that necessarily makes you sicker or has been associated with any enhancement in severity.